So what is the cost of generosity in these gacha games? Now, there's many types of what the space calls generosity, but today we're really going to focus on the freebies, the gifts, the rewards, the stuff that you expect on the anniversary. Now, the entire space seems to think that freebies are costly to the developers. And that's really where I disagree with and what this video is going to be focusing in on. I talked about it in the last video, but now I'm going to go into detail about why I think that's the wrong answer to why companies aren't necessarily using generosity, particularly in their anniversaries. But the reason I disagree with the term is because generosity implies that it's a sacrifice. It's that you're losing something. It's altruistic instead of what it really is, which is a promotion everywhere that you see it in business. And the space seems to think it's so costly that it's actually greedy for players to ask for it or to look for it. The devs, not only can they not make as much revenue, but maybe not enough revenue. Maybe the game will EOS because it's just being too generous. And then even the people who think the company's making enough money, they say that the company's being stingy, that the company can afford the hit, because they don't need to make this much money. So they're being greedy. So they still think that it's a revenue loss. They just think it shouldn't matter. But both sides are basically thinking that the company's going to lose money by being generous. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. I think it's completely a promotion to use freebies in your business. It's the best promotion that you can do. It's almost a cheat code to just send players flooding, or consumers of any sort flooding to whatever your business is. So I'm going to explain why I think it's a promotion, what the freebies actually cause, at least in all the different ways, especially in a gacha game, and then the real reasons that I think a company would not use them, which is kind of all the same reason because of what it actually causes. So the freebie, it benefits everyone involved. That's why it's one of the best marketing situations in the economy. And that's why so many companies use them. It's not greed if everyone's winning. So you're going to start with, for the game, players are going to benefit by getting free stuff. And then the company's primary benefit is going to be free marketing. And again, that's why it's a promotion. See, they're going to get targeted marketing at a fraction of the cost. It's almost impossible to buy it at the rate that they're going to get it compared to whatever the cost of whatever they're giving away, right? There's no sponsors, no ads. You just turn the people playing the game already into marketers, because the players know exactly who are going to be interested. When you say you're giving away this character, or you're giving away a series of characters or selectors, whatever it is, they know the friends that would be interested in the game but aren't playing it, haven't logged in yet, haven't had the time to try it. They're going to go and find all those people. The company has no way of targeting them as specifically as the people playing the game. They're just going to spread out. Oh, I know you were waiting for this character. I know you missed the launch. Now's the time to get in because they're giving away all this stuff. They're going to be in their Discord groups, the comment sections, all over social media, right? And social media itself, they're going to rush to broadcast. Again, with no sponsorship necessary. So look at NTE as an example. Social media got flooded, and those people weren't sponsored. We were just excited. They rushed to tell their audiences, oh, the company's doing a great thing. And then the other benefit for the company, especially with something like an anniversary or a launch period or a window, is that there's a FOMO, right? It's kind of a positive fear of missing out, because that promotion is going to create action. It's going to incentivize action now. People might have had it in the back of their head, like a lot of people, like I did about NTE. I had it in the back of my head. It's something I'll try, but I might have missed the launch. I've missed a lot of launches for games because I missed Black Beacon entirely because it just sat in the back of my head. Oh, I'll try it someday, right? But now, I didn't miss the launch of NTE because I didn't want to miss out on all the free stuff. So it jumps up my priority list. And the reason that benefits the company so much is that it's going to receive a flood of players. Like I said, it's a rush of players, new or returning. And for one, a percentage of those players are going to spend. But also, because they're all going to come in at the same time, it's going to be a large player base, and that has a multitude of different benefits. Now, when you have all those players together, they're going to generally have a better experience, and they're going to be happy with the company. Now, a percentage of those grateful players, even if they're not new players, just a percentage of the people who were consistently playing, but maybe not spending, they're going to be grateful. You've heard those players. Oh, when they did this, I threw them a $5, I threw a monthly pass because, W company, right? I'll get a skin because W company. That happens a lot. It's not, not a whale, but it adds up, especially when you're doing it cyclically or when you're filtering out throughout the entire base, even year over year. That's going to add up to a lot. It's not just the whale spending. And then you have the upsell, which is also going to be a benefit to the company. See, because when you give out a freebie, it's going to lead to sales of other things that are associated with the thing you gave away. Like in Wuthering Waves, they gave out Shang Liao. Oh, everyone's excited to have gotten a free Shang Liao, but now some of those people are going to say, oh, well, let me get a weapon for them. And again, W company, I don't mind spending on the weapon because you were nice enough to give me the character. Ooh, maybe I'll pull Yinlin now. I'm going to build a team around Shang Liao. And again, it was great in the case of Wu because you didn't have to. Shang Liao was actually capable of clearing the end game by himself. Solo, he was, I think, one of the first characters that was really successful solo in the Tower of Adversity. So even more so, that lack of compulsion makes you think, oh, W company again, I'm going to spend even more money. And again, it doesn't have to be everybody, but all of these little effects, there's very few motivators to spend that are so positive as giving away free stuff. All the other stuff feels predatory, but this one, it's like it's a bonus and it makes people feel good. They want to reward the company. Their hands open up even more. So all the ways the company benefits and the various spending increases are why so many different businesses have like freebies as a general, almost cyclical pattern of their business. Companies aren't charitable. Even if they're nice, they're not charitable, right? You see these promotions all the time. Free fries on Friday, I think at like McDonald's. Wendy's just sent me a notification for something I just saw it was free something. I assume it was some sort of play on like Wednesday and Wendy's Day. I assume, they always like to do something like that. So every Wednesday, they're going to give something for free. And you see it all the time, free donuts, free drinks, ladies drink free, kids eat free, all that. It's not a charity. It's because the company knows it's a great way to get people in the door and sell a bunch of stuff. So the cost of generosity is a flood of business in the case of gacha games. It's going to be a flood of new players or returning players. Either way, it's new business. And so the reason the game would not use freebies is because one, they either do not want a flood of players, and we'll get to two reasons why that is. And then of course, sometimes if they do it too often, if they're too consistently generous, it kills some of the effect. Because you have to acknowledge the value of the FOMO. It's a positive FOMO, but it is necessary that it has some sense of scarcity or a call to action because of the urgency, right? Like with Steam sales. If they come around too often, you lose that feeling of, oh, I need to take advantage of this because I don't know when it's going to be on sale for 60% off again. So that little incentive, again, it's technically predatory, but most people won't complain about being offered a good deal just because it's going to go away, right? But it does make people spend now. Now, in the case of a game, the players need to feel that scarcity that creates a common action, right? NTE wanted a big launch. I might have tried NTE a few months from now when I had more time. I don't have a lot of time to play games, but I made sure I was going to get in there now. I prioritized it because it's going to go away. The launch rewards will go away. And NTE wants to ensure that people act on the launch now. There's a number of reasons that it benefits, but a key component of free-to-play games is the large community in the first place. So anything that you can do to make sure that when players are there are tons of other players to play with, that's key for the business. And, free to play are needed for the hype and just the general enjoyment of the game. Or free to play players and spenders, that massive community is a benefit to the entire base. And that's actually the true value of free to play in the first place. They generate hype and excitement. It's like being at a packed stadium compared to watching a game all by yourself at home. And then if people are having a better experience, that means more value, which means more spending. It benefits the company again. So that's the way all these things tie together. There's so many. The main reason that freebies are going to be scarce is just to make sure that people act at the same time and then create a flood of business. And they're motivated to do things together. And that popularity, that hype, that moment, all those things play into the business. Now, as far as not actually wanting a flood of players, the other reason that a company might not give away freebies or be exceedingly generous at a given time, it's generally because of a problem with the product or service. Right? It's not being ready for a flood of business. And we have two examples tying into the anniversaries, both with Genshin and its history and Wuthering Waves, both of their anniversaries, and the states of the games at those times. Now, Genshin's problem was it had an audience that it couldn't really monetize successfully. Now, the game's trajectory leading up to the infamous 3 years, 3 polls, it was, they started with 15 to 20 million players, which was already outstanding for a gacha game, but we know that it was about to blow up. In that first period, the first 4 months or so, 4 to 6 months, they were making $150 to $200 million. And this is just the mobile numbers. They were making $150 to $200 million every month for like those first 4 to 6 months. That's beyond the honeymoon period. That was just because the game wasn't losing players in the first place. And that's usually the reason that revenue will drop. You're going to lose some of your audience and you lose players. You lose spending as a result. And then that's your core audience and that sustains the game. Genshin did the opposite. It blew up, right? The audience grew to almost 60 million players. That's more than triple. But the revenue went the opposite way. It dropped to almost a third of what it was, or less than a third, to 30 to 60 million. And you've seen it be there for the last 3 years. It stays in the 30 to 60 million per month. But player count went up and up and up to 60 million. And no company wants that. No matter how big the number, it's going the wrong way. That's going to present a problem to the company. If the audience gets larger, which is the point of promotions, marketing, the revenue should go up, not down, especially not down that drastically. If that happens, that means the game has a monetization problem. It's bringing people in, but it can't monetize them. And it's also losing spenders. It's not even staying the same. So the company's not going to promote the game while it's in that state. They're certainly not going to give freebies, which would likely exacerbate the problem that it's already having. They have to fix the monetization so that enough of the flood of people that they send to the game will actually spend to make it worth it. Or you have to change the game to filter the audience to one that the monetization fits, to an audience that is more likely to spend in the first place. And of course, it seemed like Genshin did the second one a little bit more than the first. Now, Wuthering Waves didn't have a problem monetizing the audience, as it has the highest player spending of the big five. It's not close. So, Wuthering Waves, it's a much smaller game than Genshin, and the players that come tend to spend a lot. So that should be perfect. But Wuthering Waves has a service issue that almost puts it in a worse position than Genshin's monetization issue was, because Wuthering Waves optimization readily rejects players and hurts the game's reputation. So again, a flood of players prior to fixing that service issue would be a critical hit to the game overall. You only get but so many chances to, if you get more than one, to secure a player. So you have those two situations where you wouldn't use the most powerful promotion tactic, freebies, on your game because the game is not ready for a flood of business, a flood of new players. It's not because it costs too much to be generous. It has nothing to do with that. At least not by any metric I can ever see. The entire business world uses freebies to promote their business. None of them are running charities. It just makes the business tons of money as long as the product is ready. Generosity is not too expensive. Companies aren't doing players, even free-to-play players, they're not doing them a favor. Everyone is winning if it's done right. Genshin has made strides in adjusting its issues since 5.0. You see all the many tweaks and changes to the game, which was going to it's going to change the audience that it appealed to. And you've seen the results since then. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more in the future because it's too much for one video. But Wuthering Waves is still clearly putting tons of effort into overcoming its optimization challenges. But either way, if we're going to work towards what we as players want from these games and companies, I just think it's crucial that we really understand how they work and what their goals and obstacles are. Because then we won't organize a boycott that's obviously in the financial best interest of the company. And we wouldn't guilt players into possibly spending more because we promote the idea that generosity is too expensive and that the game is going to struggle if they do anything generous. But people might, panic spend because, oh, my game is being generous, they might EOS. That couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, it's nice if you have it, but putting out that idea that, oh, the game's being generous, NT's being generous, they might EOS, that's a kind of a predatory thing to do to an audience. They're going to make a lot of money off of being generous, like every other company that ever gives away freebies. The only reason a company's not going to make money is if the product is wrong. But the generosity is going to flood them with more business than they otherwise would have. 100%. If the product's wrong, that business will hurt. If the product's ready, they'll prosper. A lot. So let me know what your thoughts are on generosity in gacha games and in business in general in the comments below, especially if you disagree with me. I'm going to continue digging into these topics like this and conflicts in the community in future videos. So stick around if you're interested in the space. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.